My next guest is a guy with a remarkable story. He grew up on the south side of Chicago, surrounded by drugs and violence, and dealt with the traumatic events that shaped who he is today. He ended up moving to Robbins, Illinois, where he began playing basketball and fell in love with the game. Fast forward to now, he's a 3-time NBA champion, NBA Finals MVP, and a successful entrepreneur. He made a way out of no way. I welcome Dwyane Wade to the show. Thank you so much for being here. How are you?
From our last interview, this is way more like official. I want you to know that.
Thank you.
In the hallway somewhere, and now look at you.
Thank you. Thank you. I know, isn't that crazy how things work? I always wanted to do a more professional interview with you, and here we are. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. And first of all, before we start, I see, obviously, you have a bottle of my wine in front of you, but you've been supporting my wine and putting it out, and you really drink this stuff. So tell the people how it is. Just let the people know how good that wine is you're drinking.
Of course. So here's the thing with this wine is that if I don't watch myself, I can easily drink an entire bottle. And I'm not going to lie, I've done that before in one sitting, believe it or not. So I actually wanted to talk with you about the process that it actually took for you to make this wine. It's not just like, ooh, I feel like, creating a wine company. I mean, there's a lot of different steps. And a lot of wines can somewhat kind of taste the same with maybe subtle differences. So how did you go throughout the process of finding what you liked? And even just like, look how beautiful this is. Like this whole, it's gorgeous. Like, how did you come up with this?
Thank you. This passion started, let's see, like back in 2012. It's about almost 8 years ago now.
Oh, wow.
And what I learned in sport is what I take in my business life. And what I learned, the most important thing in sport is team success and the individuals surrounding you, right? You can be as great as you want to be. If you don't have great people around you or people who compliment you, you're not going to be successful. And that's what I did in the wine space is I teamed up with Paul Meyer. Jason Paul Meyer started a wine company many years ago, and they've been making amazing wine out of Napa Valley. They're known for, obviously, Napa Valley is known for the Cabernet, and Paul Meyer makes amazing Cabernet. Mm-hmm. But I teamed up with them. I got a great winemaker as well. Name is John Keys, who really does a great job of, just sticking with my palate. As I grow, my wine grows. And John Keys really understands that and really goes on a journey, with me through my wines. And that's what you get to experience. So everything that you taste, that's kind of what my palate is and how my palate has grown over the years. And hopefully we're just putting great juice in a bottle that people can enjoy. And hopefully the story that goes behind it, people can get into and want to be involved with.
Well, I definitely love it. And besides wine, I know that you are tapped into so many different business ventures. And I know this was a thing that you really wanted to focus on even while you were playing basketball, because you were like, eventually, the time is going to run out playing basketball. So how important is it for athletes to focus on the business side and start building those relationships early?
Well, first, Ash, this is something you got to really want to do, right? This is work. It's like we talk about basketball, and basketball is 100% is work, but it's not a job necessarily, right? We get to do something we really love to do, and it's so much fun to do it. And yes, it takes a toll on your body, and it takes away a lot of things that everyone gets to do while you're playing. You don't get to do those things, but this entrepreneur side, this business side, this is boots on the ground. This is grinding. This is work, And so I would tell anybody, if you want to be in business, then you got to be willing to put the work in. And for me, in my brand, what I've tried to build is I just tried to build authenticity, right? Everything that I'm a part of, I want it to be authentic to who I am. So it doesn't feel like so much of that grind of working, because it's something that I enjoy and it's something that I use and I am a part of in my everyday life. So, some is my wine company. I'm an avid wine drinker. I love drinking wine. I'm not an everyday drinker, but I enjoy conversations around wine. I enjoy traveling the world, being able to taste wines all over the world. And it's become a part of my life. So that makes it easy to endorse it or, to get into that lane. So That would be my biggest thing to anybody. Don't get into it because you think, oh, it's going to make me a lot of money. Because for the most part, unless you get lucky on a few investments here and there, this is going to be a lot of groundwork you're going to have to put in till you get to that point where you're trying to get to.
Yeah, so it's basically being passionate about something first and foremost, and making sure that it aligns with, your morals, your values, things that you want to accomplish, which also brings me to my next question is I know that you're helping your son with his brand. I saw Young DNA, which is awesome. I mean, he's so young and he's already wanting to start his own business, which I think is really, really fascinating. How did that whole thing play out?
Yeah, well, so that credit goes to Zaire. I gave him a nickname and he ran with it. Him and his friends decided to take Young DNA and they decided to make it a brand. And what I love about it, he started at 16 years old, he's 18, and he's had 2 years of experience of being a CEO of his own brand. He's learning so much about business and now going to, he's in prep school now, but then going to college. Next year, he can now understand more about business and really go into that lane and understand what he's going into that lane for, because he's had experience in a sense. And so, what I love about it is that he's gaining life skills. He's going to use the tools that he's learning as a CEO in everything he do in life, whether it is as a parent or an athlete or whatever it is he's going to be. So I love it, man. I celebrate them. I buy stuff myself. Like I don't just get all free gear. I make sure that I purchase stuff from Young DNA. I want him to know that you don't just give stuff out for free.
Yep.
And so I'm proud of him. I'm proud of my son for starting a business at 16 years old, and who knows what's going to happen from it. But I know he's going to gain some experience and some knowledge, and he's going to be able to educate others that's trying to get in that field one day.
So the last time we talked, you were on your farewell tour, and now you're officially 1 year removed from playing basketball. What was that like for you? Maybe the first day that you woke up where you should have been reporting to training camp and knowing like, oh my God, I'm not going there. I'm waking up and I'm having a normal life now. Like, what was that experience like for you?
You know what? I actually thought it was going to be worse than what it was.
Oh.
Every year around training camp, you just get this itch. Your body is used to getting prepared for training camp, getting in training camp, going through that and getting ready for the season. And this was the first season that I didn't have to do that. And this was the first season I was thankful that I didn't. I gave the game everything that my body wanted to give the game. And I literally walked away with nothing more to accomplish, nothing more to give. I accomplished more than I ever thought was possible. I came in, and as I said in my last dance, I was a kid with a ball and a dream. And with that ball and that dream, I did some incredible things. I played in the NBA for 16 seasons with my style of play for 16 years, and to have a successful career for the most part throughout that. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better. So I walked away from the game like, I'm done. Y'all can have this.
No, absolutely. So, as I mentioned, you are a 3-time NBA champion, an NBA Finals MVP, along with many accolades. So for you, how do you define success?
You know what? It's weird, right? Because I don't define success by no more, right? I think when I first came into the NBA, or why are you even going through the journey? You define success by championships, because that's what the media has portrayed as success. Mm-hmm. And some people define success by the contracts that they get, how many they get, how big of deals they get. Everyone has what is success to them. Some people define it by how many points they can score over their career, or, where they at on this list or that list. For me, at this point, at 38 years old now, I appreciate what basketball has done for me and done for my family, and what it continues to do. Basketball continues to give, even though I'm not playing it anymore. Mm-hmm. But my success that I look at is my family's success, right? How healthy, how happy, everyone around me is, how many people can I bring with me along this journey, mm-hmm. can experience this world, this life that I've been blessed enough to live, and all those things that go with it. So that's why I determine success at now. But as an athlete, it was all about winning. It was all about championships. It was all about, being there on the last day. At some point, being the best player in the world. All these things was a part of my journey of this is what success looks like.
Mm-hmm. So I had watched your documentary, Life Unexpected, and it was amazing, by the way. And you had so much film of yourself behind the scenes. And I know that you're a very strategic person. You're always thinking 10 steps ahead. Did you know that you were eventually going to have a documentary about your life?
Yes and no, right? Like we started getting film. I forget what year. I want to go back to maybe 2008, 2009 is when I really decided that I wanted somebody around me at all times. Well, not at all times, but, majority of the time to capture these moments, because I realized that one, my life was going fast, but I also realized my NBA career was zooming by. And I wanted to capture these moments as much as possible. And so I knew that one day I would do something with it. I just didn't know that it would come right away when I retired. And I have so much more footage that like in maybe 10 years, I come out with something else. But I thought it was something that I wanted to share, wrapping up my last dance in my NBA season, or my one last dance. Let me make sure, because Jordan had the last dance, Matt had the one last dance, wrapping that up. I wanted to, share my journey, and I wanted to share my story with, kids that look like me, that talk like me, that walk like me, and that's, from where I'm from. And understanding that even though I've become successful and I've made it out, it's still individuals who grew up and that are growing up just like me right now. And you look for motivation, you look for somebody that has lived the same life that you have. And I wanted to express that and show that as I wrapped up my NBA career.
Well, I loved it because you didn't let your circumstances define you. You, as I mentioned before, made a way out of no way. So for those people who might be struggling and dealing with the same kind of upbringing that you were, what is the biggest piece of advice you would have for them, or just maybe things that you learned along the way that you wish that you would have known then?
Oof. I mean, that right there, that can go, we could be all day talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the biggest things I learned, and I try to share with my son, is it's as simple as this, but it's as hard as this. It's hard work, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever you're committed to, whatever your vision is, whatever your dream is, whatever your passion is, whatever it is you want to be or become, you have to work extremely hard at it, especially as a Black man in America. Mm-hmm. You have to work even harder, and as a Black woman in America, as a Black and brown woman in America, you have to work that much harder to accomplish it. So, I always tell my son, head down, ears open, but just put your head down and just work hard. And once you get done with it, whatever you're doing, and you come up for air, let's see what you've accomplished. And I know that sounds so simple, but that's one of the hardest things to do, is to every day challenge yourself to work hard, even when you don't see the results, right? You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like if you see results, it's easy to keep going. But when you don't see them constantly, you keep hitting the wall, how do you continue to wake up every morning, every day to strive for greatness, as LeBron say, right? Mm-hmm. And work extremely hard. And that's all I did to get out of my situation. I just put my head down. It's people who came in my life that I needed, and I attached myself to them. They got me to a certain point, and then I moved on, and I continue to attach myself to people that can help me get to my journey and help me reach, my ultimate purpose, I guess, in this world.
I love it. I mean, it's a whole process. And in the moment, you're kind of just going on autopilot. You kind of know what you need to do. And it's crazy what the mind can do when you're actually putting, a goal down and you're like, all right, this is what I need to do to get that goal. I'm just going to, focus on that for a couple months. And I mean, I can relate to that. There's months at a time where things aren't working out. Everything's falling apart. I'm like, all right, I just need to stay the course. I'm getting denied by jobs back and forth, like probably 200, 300 jobs. And I'm just like, you know what? I need to do this on my own. And it's working out. And at first, like you said, you're not going to notice all the results right away, but just keep pushing forward. So I know for you, if you have your heart set on a goal, you're going to accomplish it. I know you're going to always find a way. Is there a goal that you're currently working on right now that you are trying to accomplish?
Well, my goal is right now, especially, retiring in this first year and then dealing with this pandemic in your first year of retirement is not ideal, right? When I retired, I moved to Los Angeles, which a lot of people know. And I decided that, I was going to get into TV. I decided to sign with TNT to be an analyst about basketball. I don't even call myself an analyst, to talk about the game. I decided I was going to get more into my production company and really try to bring content to the world. So, I already had 59th and Prairie, but I really juiced it up a little bit. And that was like my two things. I was like, okay, I want to do those two things and then go from there. And also at the same time, continue to invest, continue to grow the businesses that I already have, spend more time with my family, be a better parent, be a better husband, be a better friend, all these things along this way. And I've been hit with it. We've all been hit with this pandemic. And so we've all had to figure out different ways to be. And I think it's made me probably better than I would have been if I did not have this obstacle that has jumped in the way, because it's made me want to appreciate things a little bit more. It's made me have to work harder because it's easy for Dwyane Wade to take a meeting with Bob Iger, right? Bob Iger's a big sports fan. It's easy for me to say, Bob, I would love to come to your office and sit down and take a meeting. But right now, it's different. We can't come in. I can't charm you with my Dwyane Wade-ness. So whatever now I have to have something. I have to bring something to the table because, we're doing a lot of things via Zoom, and we have to sell ourselves. We have to sell the stories. And it's a little different for me. I've never done this. So it's been challenging as an athlete. You love a challenge.
Well, absolutely. And watching you on TNT has been awesome. I knew you'd be a natural. You're very good at articulating yourself. And obviously, you know the game better than anyone. So being on that side of things, how was that different for you?
It's so different. And I had this conversation with Draymond Green when we were, Draymond, works for TNT as well right now, why he's not playing. And we had this conversation. It was a Charles Barkley Draymond moment when they finally got in the studio together, right? And you could see Draymond sitting there I'm not going to look at him, I'm not going to break type moment, right? And Charles Barkley is the biggest teddy bear in the world. He's one of the greatest people in the world. He obviously says whatever's on his mind. Is very controversial at times, but Charles is Charles. And I had to sit down and we all went out, Charles and Draymond and the entire crew. We all went out and talked about, just Charles Barkley. And I had to tell Draymond, when you're a player and someone on this side on TV, their job is to give their opinion about what they see. So if I'm sitting here in between times while you're playing a game, Draymond, if I'm watching you play, and all you're doing is jumping on the refs, and you have 0 points and 0 rebounds, and you got a tech, and all these things you've done. It's my job now to come out and talk about that and give my opinion about Draymond Green. And so you may take it as hating, but this is my job and this is my opinion about what I see. Now, as a player, I, just like you, felt it was hating. Right. I had a certain feel about someone talking about me, especially a former player, because you look at that as hating. And Draymond had a great point. Draymond said, well, sometimes what you guys say have so much, it carries so much merit and so much weight that it can affect how someone views someone, i.e. JaVale McGee for a long time, because Shaq a fool and all those things. But, I think the biggest thing that I learned, I just shared that with you because the biggest thing is I learned on this side, if you don't talk about what you see, if you don't give your honest opinion on what you see, then you might as well not be on TV. You might as well just talk with your homeboys at the crib, about it if you're not going to be real on TV. So it's not easy. It's hard. But, if you sign up to do the job, you got a job to do.
So this playoffs this year was really exciting. I know you had a really tough choice to pick between the Miami Heat, your former team. But LeBron's your best friend. So how are you going to choose?
First of all, the Lakers supposed to have won the championship, especially once the Clippers got eliminated. It was all right,
game
over. The Lakers are in the driver's seat, right? You got LeBron James, you got Anthony Davis. You got 2 of the top 5 players in our game on one team. And somebody that has been in the finals 9 out of 10 years, and also too, the Lakers had a bigger purpose, coming into this year, coming into the bubble and everything after what happened with all of our good friend Kobe Bryant. Their purpose was greater than anyone. So everything was aligned perfectly for them. The Miami Heat came out of nowhere. No one expected them to be there. I didn't expect them to be in the finals, this year, 1 year after, my retirement. So I'm going to cheer on my team. I know what LeBron has done. He already has 3 rings. He already has, if he stopped right now, his career 7 years ago was Hall of Fame worthy. It doesn't even matter. So I'm rooting for the Heat. I'm rooting for the underdogs. I'm rooting for Jimmy Butler. I'm rooting for Bam and, my guys. And so I knew that hill to climb to win that championship for Miami was going to be a tough hill to climb. But I love the way that they pushed. I love the way that they made the Lakers have to bring their A game. I mean, that last game the Lakers played was the best of the Lakers. Okay. I mean, they play that way. It's not many people in the world that can beat them, when they're on their A game. And so it was just great. It was great to have, for me to see Miami in there and to be able to have feel like I was a part of it in a sense. And it was also great to see my friend do something that a lot of people have not done, win his 4th championship, to see him do it with another star, a different kind of star, a different kind of player. I mean, he's changed. He's rewriting the record books. He's rewriting the way that the game has been seen and has been played and has been done. And it's special to see.
So I know that everyone always wants to talk about the GOAT debates. I'm not even going to go there with you just because I think it's just so overplayed and people have nothing better to talk about and they just like to compare without truly appreciating the greatness that we see in front of us. But when it comes to, a guy like LeBron, where do you see his game going from here? Like, how many more years do you think he has left in the tank? Because I'm watching him and I'm like, this guy is still playing at such a high level at 35 years old. I'm like, I don't even see like a time limit for him.
Yeah, I wish I don't have that answer. No one has that. LeBron doesn't even have that answer. Like he can say, "Oh, I want to play another 5 years," but you don't know. From year to year, obviously, this sport is one step away from not ever playing again. People don't understand that you're one wrong step away from never picking up a basketball again. LeBron has had this longevity. Yes, he take care of his body. Yes, his body is built different than any basketball player we've ever seen. Yeah. But also, too, is ordained. Like he's got on his back, the chosen one. He's chosen as well, right? So we just all sit back and let's just enjoy whatever left we have of LeBron James because, yes, we're going to see great players come for many years, but we're never going to see another LeBron James, right? Mm-hmm. And that's when we talk about the GOAT conversations, it doesn't matter who's the GOAT. He's one of one. We will never see another him. We will never see another Jordan. We will never see another Kareem and so forth and so on. And no one will ever win 11 championships like Bill Russell, right? Or I don't think. Maybe one day somebody get 12. But so I just want to enjoy watching not only and I told LeBron this. I said, this is the first time I've ever watched you as a real fan. Because watching him while playing against him, I'm watching him to see what I can do to kind of, to up him or to be better and playing with him. I'm trying to figure out how we can be great together. How can we win championships? This is the first time I've ever watched him as just a total fan. And I texted him. I said, bro, you're fucking good. You're great. He's an animal. He's one of the best basketball players that's ever played the game because of the way he plays the game. Not many players have ever played the game the way he does it. And it's just special to watch.
The like you said, the basketball IQ. I mean, he's 10 steps ahead of everyone else. How do you one-up him?
You can't. No, that's what you do. You do not try to one-up LeBron James. You will not win because longevity wins. When he was in Cleveland the first 7 years and I was in Miami, it was the battles. We try to go back and forth. We had a couple classic games and battles back and forth. And, and those are the times where I was trying to get on his level. I knew what his greatness could be. And I knew if I wanted to be looked at as great, I had to get on certain people's levels like LeBron and like Kobe and, AI when I first came in the league and guys like that. So, but I always said this, once LeBron retire, people are going to forget that we were even teammates. He's going to play that long and I'm going to be retired that long and you're going to forget that we played together.
And the crazy thing is I think that he's going to end up playing either with or against his son. And I think that is going to be incredible to watch.
I agree with you. I mean, you don't want to put pressure on, a young kid, right? But I think if you are in that James family, this is chosen. You're chosen, for some reason. And I think Bronny handles it as well as you can handle it as a young kid in the spotlight his entire life, obviously with the name of his father. And his basketball talents speak for itself. The kid is a very good player. You see him right now, you'd be like, he's going to be a professional basketball player one day. And you hope that LeBron James is around. We all want to see that moment. We all want to see that moment when they both take the court one day, and hopefully it happens for them and their family, because that's special to be the first time that happened in the basketball sport, I believe. I hope that we get to see it.
I have just a couple more questions for you and I'll let you go. I'm so sorry that we're going over. I feel like I could talk to you all day. I'm kind of having this feeling, and I don't know if I have any proof to back it up of who I've talked to, but I think that CP3 is eventually going to go to LA and somehow pair up with LeBron and Anthony Davis. Maybe not next year, but I think it's going to happen. What would it do for that Lakers organization to have a guy like CP3 there?
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't want to. I know he's an OKC, and I don't want to
tampering.
That's getting him out of the place that, he brought him and the other guys really brought that organization to a place where none of us in the preseason thought that it would go, right? Once he was traded there. So I want him to I want people to still talk about that and not move on to CP, the Lakers. Let them enjoy their championship and let CP enjoy what he did. But if that moment ever happens, you're putting some of the greatest basketball minds together. You've seen it this year when LeBron and Rondo was on the court together. These are two of the smartest basketball players that will ever play the game of basketball. No matter what generation, they will be two of the smartest. And you've seen how they thought the game 2-3 steps ahead of the opponents. And it's not just about talent sometimes, it's just about this. And so Chris Paul he's in that same conversation, right? I've always said LeBron, CP, and Rondo are the smartest basketball players I've ever seen, with my own eyes, and I've been around to be able to see. And so when you think about that, and you think about what Rondo and LeBron accomplished this year, when they was on the court together, when they wasn't on the court together, how they made that team work. If you think about adding CP to that same kind of mix, Jesus Christ, that's domination.
Yeah, no, that's multiple championships right there. And then for you, what is maybe the highest pressure situation that you've ever had to face, and how did you handle it?
Oh, man, being a father at 19 years old, it gets no more high pressure than that. I'm trying to figure my life out. I'm in college. I just redshirted, and I found out I'm a father, and and my family's trajectory is this way at this point, and I need to be the one. I need to be the one that works my tail off to make sure that I change that trajectory of our family. And also, too, I need to be a role model. I need to be a friend. I need to be a father. I need to be a leader for my son. That was the toughest thing, that I dealt with, besides when I was younger, dealing with watching my mom and my dad kind of go through their addictions and experiencing that and what we had to deal with because of it. But as I became adult, as I said yesterday on my social media, Zaire became my why. And I've always tried to go through life and make my mom and dad proud 100%. But I'm really trying to make sure that my oldest son and all my kids are just simply proud of their father, simply can take what I've started and continue to build off of it in whatever capacity, in whatever way that they see fit. I gave us a jump start. Now I just want them to keep taking it and just generations to come.
See, I don't think people realize how much your childhood can affect how you go throughout life in terms of certain habits you develop, generational curses. I know it's a thing too, where it's like you finally got your family out of that. So for you, like, how important was it, like you said, as a father, to make sure that your kids didn't ever have to face any of the hardships that you had to face?
It was very important. I grew up and I wasn't deemed as like having this, like no one seen it in me when I was young. No one said this guy is special, right? Like I think now as I'm adult, some people are like, it's something about you and whether it is or not. But when I was a kid, I never heard that. And so to be able to work my tail off and be able to put, my family in a position where things are different than it has been for generations. I take pride in that. I take pride in knowing that my kids have a model, to look at. And, and me and Zaire have a lot of conversations. It's not about Zaire being like his father. If that was the case, his name would be Dwyane Wade, not Junior, not anything. It would just be Dwyane Wade. His name is Zaire Wade. He's different. It's just like Bronny, Bronny Jr. He's a junior. He's different. Our names are different. So with that being said, you be who you are. You just take inspiration, you take motivation, and you take the little that we given and you take it and you keep going with it. You keep building for your family and for their family and for their families to come. And so for me, that's the thing I'm most proud of. We don't know what tomorrow brings. We don't know how long we're going to be able to be on this earth and make an impact. Mm-hmm. But I feel that, if it ended today, my impact is on my family is great. And I think that it will continue to keep going from here. So I'm proud of that.
I would totally agree. I think that you are, almost perfection in all aspects of your life. And that's just from me looking from the outside in. I can see how respected you are.
Yeah, it's my wife.
But I can just tell how respected you are, how much your family loves you, how much, people who haven't even met you love you just as a person, not just so much the basketball player. So just a little personal question for me. I'm entering my 30s in January. So I am excited, but also a little on edge, oh my God, I'm 30 years old. I still feel like a child inside. What is the biggest piece of advice you have for me entering my 30s? And what's something that maybe you would tell your 20-year-old self right now that you maybe didn't know going into your 30s?
Well, first of all, I think life has put pressure on us as certain ages we supposed to have accomplished these certain things, right? When we were growing up, it was like, well, if you're a woman and you get in your 30s and you ain't got a husband, you ain't got no kids, you're failing in life. Life is different now. Take that piece of paper and ball that up, right? I think we're at this space and you're in this position now where you can really write the way that you want to see your life. And that's okay that you're going to take your own path and your own journey to however you want to get to your life. You don't have to stack your life against anyone else's. I always say, find your lane and be comfortable in your lane, whatever your lane is, maximize that and be you. So, I would tell you that, just over the years of watching and just seeing you grow and seeing how many people that be on your show and how many people you're talking to and your grind, your belief in yourself, your knowledge of life, your knowledge of sport, all those things, just keep going with that. You're doing an amazing job of being Ashley, and don't try to be anybody else. Don't look at someone else's life and be like, oh, I want that. Yeah, you can be inspired by what other people do. But, understand that your journey and your path is just going to be totally different.
I love this. And this whole conversation just been great because I knew I'd be able to have a deep conversation with you. I just know you're very intellectual like me. And these are the types of questions I like to ask people. So I do have just one more question for you. What is the impact that you ultimately want to leave on the world?
Well, I think when I was young, I was asked that same question. And my answer at that time was, I want to leave the world a better place. And my answer is still the same. I want to be able to motivate, like I said, people who are from the community I'm from. I want to be able to uplift people that's around me, people that I've never met before. I want to be able to share experiences with the world, like I do now. Me and my family, and we may take a lot of criticism or we may get a lot of support, but we feel that we're in this position for a reason, and we share our experiences, whether it's surrogacy, whether it's a daughter going through, the LGBTQ plus community, whatever it is, whether it's divorce, everything that we've been through, we share because it's other people out there that needs to hear this. There's other people out there that just need that, what, they did it, I can do it. There's other people out there that needs that motivation and to know that they're not the only ones going through something. And so, when I get one message to say that, because of your wife, because of you and your wife sharing your journey through surrogacy, me and my wife, was able to research it and find more out about it. And now we have our bundle of joy. Those kind of messages right there will always fulfill me way more than all the hate that's on my timeline about me as a person, me when I color my hair, me when I support my kids, whatever the case may be. That one message will always fulfill me more. And I will continue to share whatever it is that, the man above want to give me to be able to share with the world, because I understand that it's always bigger than me. It's a bigger purpose and it's not about me.
I love that. You stay true to who you are. You're authentic. And the thing I love most about you, Gabby, your entire family is that you guys are just very open and honest. And if people don't like it, So what? And I view life the same way. I mean, it's hard to you kind of can get caught up in what everyone else thinks sometimes, and you're looking at comments, and people are always going to find a way to hate. But it says more about them than it does about you, and everything you're doing, the messages you're sending. I know that you're continuing to inspire and impact the world, and try to make it a better place. And again, as Capricorns, if we say we're going to do something, we're going to do something. And you promised me a couple months ago that we would get this interview done at some point or another. And you made this happen for me. And again, I just want to let you know, it goes a long way. I really appreciate you being here, and everything you stand for, and congrats with everything you're doing. And I wish you continued success.
You know what? I appreciate that. And like you said, I think, what we have is our word, at the end of the day. We, like I always say, I have my basketball talents will diminish at some point. My name, who I am, how I treat people, what I believe in. That's all I have at the end of the day. So if I say I'm going to do something, I may not get it right the first time or the second, but I'm eventually going to get it right. And I think, we're in this space right now in the world where, it just really should just be about how you treat people. You know what I mean? Ultimately, it shouldn't matter if you're Black, if you're white, if you're, Latino or whatever. It should not matter. It should just be about, it should be a human thing, right? Of how, you see somebody, you treat somebody how they treat you. And to me, that's how I grew up. I treat you the way you treat me, or I treat you how I want to be treated, or how I want my mom to be treated, or my wife to be treated, my daughter, and so forth and so on. So, I say that and I end with this because, this is an important time for the world. Actually, it's an important time for all of us. And we all are advocates, and we all are talking about voting, and we all are talking about this change we want to see and we want to create. But none of that matters if in your heart, you just don't have it to treat people and see people, as equals. I think we all look at, because I'm an NBA player and because I've had success, I never look down on someone else in the NBA because they didn't have the same success as me. You know what I mean? You may crack jokes on Charles Barkley about not winning championships, but I'm sure most people would take his career that have a championship ring, than not, right? So for me, it's just all about making sure that you treat people with respect, and, you leave. I think one thing Kobe taught all of us is he left all of us with stories. He left all of us with moments that we still pull from today, and that we still share and that we can use, throughout our life. And that's what it's all about. So hopefully, this is not our last time talking. Hopefully we have other conversations and drink some wine together and all those cool things, and, just continue to treat people the way that we want to be treated.
Well, I would love that. I'm going to take up your offer on that. We're definitely going to have a glass of wine together, especially when things start to change. I know that you have a lot going on. I have a lot of things that I want to accomplish, and I could definitely see us working together one day. Again, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here. And again, congrats on everything.
No doubt. And go vote.